Hello and welcome to the sixth turn, turn 15, game turn 15, August 22nd to 26th of GMT's Stalingrad 42 Caucasus campaign by Mark Simonich. Right, okay, there's not a lot to say beyond what I said last turn, so we can just really crack on, I suppose. Right, so start off with our normally the weather phase, but we don't quite roll for the weather yet. We do that actually on game turn 17, so 2 turns time. So we're into the initial phase, and normally we'd ready the air units, but the air unit has disappeared. It now disappears and doesn't come back until game turn 23. So skipping that, any reinforcements, and on the German side, of course, we don't have much in the way of reinforcements, and none this game turn. So really we're down to our resource point expenditure, which is of course the usual trucked supply point here, which we'll stick at the top of the map and bring on during the movement phase. We can do flipping of artillery support units, but none of that have supply available. So, well, what can I say? On to the movement phase. Pretty quick initial phase. Right, here in the combat phase, there was a combat going to be done up here, but having looked at the odds, I thought that's really not a good idea. No, the Romanians and the Slovaks can't actually attack together. They can stack together and defend, but they can't actually attack together, so it won't be much of an attack. In fact, it'll be appalling odds, so I'm not going to do that. So we've got Krasnodar here. We have fighting here south of Mykop, and over here we have Voroshilovsk. So we had the option of continuing the panzers down this way. I kind of thought, well, you know, let's get rid of Voroshilovsk. Unfortunately, we're not going to have a great odds attack, as usual. And yeah, there's tanks in there as well, so probably glutton for punishment here. But I think clearing that out is important. And so, yeah, we'll go with that. So why don't we start there? The kind of dodgiest of the attacks, if you like. So, I mean, if we can get Voroshilovsk and Krasnodar this turn, the next turn we can start getting the volunteer units in as well. So the timing's quite good, but it is an elite guard unit rifle division there. So, but it's 24 to 10 because the defenders are doubled, which is 2 to 1, but it's going up to 3 to 1 because we are going to use the artillery support. So 3 to 1, and so we don't hit that dreaded 1. Oh, 6, here we go. The tide turns completely. That's a D1 advance 3. So we have a loss on the on the guard unit here, and a D1 does involve a retreat. So we have the ability to stop that with our determined defence, and in fact it's a desperate defence because we have Zoc bonds all the way around Voroshilovsk. So we look on the determined defence table here. Let's just get it into focus here. So we are in a city, so this is the best column here. We are an elite lead unit on the defender's side in a city, so there's a +1 to the dice here. It is, however, the orange, so therefore there's a -1 on that, so it's just a straight roll on this table here. So let's see how we go on the defense. A 3, so a 3 on this table. As you can see here, this is a partial with a loss, so we'll just go through that. So there is a defender loss, so there will be the guard unit will disappear. Actually, just looking at that, the original result was in the orange area, and that's an actual -1 dice roll modifier as well. So this means that actually it becomes a 2, which if you look on the city column there, number 2 is a failure with no loss. So a fail means that there is a requirement to retreat. However, this is desperate defence, and so therefore we then have to, we potentially have to roll again on the defence table. However, of course, the failure of a determined defence, which is the first roll, in a desperate defence situation, means that to roll again you need to take a step loss. So either way, either by retreat or by using the desperation defence die roll again, we will lose this unit. So unfortunately, it's a failure for the Russian unit, the Soviet unit. So the city is actually won. So after that we have an original advance. The advance is actually 3. So I think we would probably want to come back down this way, 1, 2, 3 here, and maybe to here, just to pressure this defence a bit more. 3 won't be enough for us to do an attack, and I'm not entirely sure I want to do an attack on these rough hexes, because you don't get a tank shift, and also there's a shift to the left, so we don't really want to do that. But we can, of course, send our cavalry units through, or put a cavalry unit here to take the hex there. So very successful there by the Germans. So possibly things are looking up. No tank losses as well. Right, over here, let's do the Krasnodar one here. So 17 to 4, 4 to 1, 1 shift with the artillery support here. So 4 to 1 going to a 5 to 1. Let's see how that turns out. 5 on 4 to 1, and that will be a D1 advance 3. So yeah, the hex is taken, and there's an advance 3, which infantry units can of course only do 2 hexes of that. So I think possibly we'll send, that's 2 hexes. That's 2 hexes. I think we will send this Jaeger. Shall we follow? shall I follow the leader here? I think we will. So we will move across the river here as well. Maybe stay north. I think stay north. So Krasnodar. Well, actually, we will occupy. Just to make things clear here. So that means that Krasnodar and Voroshilovsk have actually fallen. This means that we can, as the Germans, get North Caucasus volunteer units. Not that they have much to speak of, to be honest, but they will be good as garrison units and fillers, etc. And maybe some bonuses because they're free stacking units. Mostly they're only regiments, so that'll be useful as well. Fine, so we are left with here, of course, this attack here, 15 to 3, 5 to 1, but there is a shift for the wooded rough here for the defence, so it will be 5 to 1 going to a 4 to 1. Whoa, 6, there we go, we've got 6, 5, 6, completely different from what we had last turn with a string of 1s. So 4 to 1, a 6 is D1 advance 3. So again, we can remove that unit. And we have a D1 advance 3. So interesting that we could, attempt to attack here with these 3 units. We can stack and form a breakthrough group, and it'll be 1 to go into here, and then we can use an attack here again. So that will be a 15 to 5. That'll be a 3 to 1 going to a 2 to 1. Let's maybe we're pushing it a bit there. But will we get too much help beyond that? Well, it may. Is there much of a likelihood of it causing too much of a retreat? Well, a bit, yes. And this could open up. I think it's probably worth the risk, I think. So, breakthrough group here, and that's 15 to 5 is 3 to 1. Hopefully to get a retreat here. 3 to 1 going down to a 2 to 1 for the wooded rough. So let's roll that. And it's been such a successful turn so far that maybe we should tempt Providence here. We did, a 5. Great. Okay, well, it's not completely great. It's an A1, D1, and then an advanced 2. So, so the unit can try and cancel. I think we'll stop. We'll take the Jaeger as the step loss here. Keep our mountain guys doing well here. So, and a 2 hex retreat. So there's already been 1 hex advantage here and 1 hex to there. So these infantry units can only get to that hex. So I don't see there's really a need to try and do a desperate defense. We can shore up the defense here in the mountains. It does mean that these guys become very, very good. These mountain units double their attack factors, but we I think defense strength is doubled anyway, so and I don't think it's worth the risk of trying to do a defense here. So we will retreat with a disrupt marker. And we did take a loss, of course, as the Germans, so there is that. And then the advance can go to here. So we've pretty much bottled up this area now. So we have complete German control here around this area. The road only goes through there, and there's no other road available until you're way over here, or back up around the Novorossiysk area. So nicely bottled there, even if we don't want to do anything more. But anyway, that's the combat phase. A recovery phase would be just removing disrupts, and we only have the one for the artillery supply unit that moved more than 1 spot, 1 hex this turn. Nothing else really to speak of. and on the supply phase, we get to move our rail marker up to Tikhoretsk, and everybody is pretty much in supply. We've got no issues with that, and yeah, so that's really it for the German part of the turn. Yeah, very quiet on the Taman front, but big gains elsewhere. I think the gain of Voroshilovsk and Krasnodar gives us 2 more victory points here, which puts the Germans on 6. Still a long way to go, though, of course. Right, so the next phase is, of course, the initial phase for the Soviets. Okay, with the Soviet initial phase, of course, no air units. We have, however, some reinforcements here, varying usefulness here. So this is the last turn of the Trans-Caucasus unit. It's our NKVD unit here. It's very nice, elite. We also have a mountain unit here, a little regiment, and interestingly enough, a rifle corps there, so slightly beefier than the standard divisions here coming in. Of course, this is the only one that can come on at the bottom edge. The other two will have to come on through the Trans-Caucasus, the Caspian Sea transit box over on the extreme right. Okay, so and like before, I think we'll put the Trans-Caucasus unit down towards the Terek River line area anyway. Good. Okay. From reinforcements we get to replacements, and just before I do, I just want to note over here that I forgot to do the replacement. It was an infantry replacement for the Germans. I did mark it while I was doing the movement phase. Didn't mention it though. So that unit is now full strength again. Okay, so on the replacement side for the Soviets, it's actually a cavalry replacement. So we can take one of our cavalry units and do a rebuild. And again, I think we'll take it down on the Terek River line in Area J. And that's our replacements. Use the resource points. So as everything is happening way over here, I'll just turn. That's not very good with the glare. Let me just move the whole setup. Apologies for the sick making maneuver there. Yeah, so here's our new units here, and yeah, so we build that fort there, and we of course use a resource point to build another one. And I still think we should be focusing down here and trying to build something of a line. So certainly maybe we're looking to build one here, I think, behind the river here. I think that's the next spot. So yeah, that's our initial phase done. So it will be on to movement phase now. Okay, so that was the movement. We tried to basically build a reserve here, I think. As you know, I think something big's going to happen here. Also withdraw back with the naval unit here as well, trying to support the flank of this unit. And again, shore up down here in the recovery phase. Of course, there's no combat. We'll remove that. And over this side, just trying to get a nice little run of Zok bonds up here, just to hold things back as much as we can. Just a possibility that this hex might be taken with an advance, a big advance, so we'll move the MKVD up for that as well. Also thinking of sending up some reinforcements here from the direct line, but yeah, it's made it awkward with the loss of Voroshilovsk now. I think it's a big problem over here. I'm not sure we have enough units to deal with whatever we have to do. Anyway, so recovery phase done. In our supply phase, we're okay with supply here. Nobody's isolated, so that's really the turn. So that was turn 6, game turn 15, and on to the next turn in the next video. Hope to see you then.